We've just completed an installation of the new Viessmann Vitodens 100. It features some enhanced things that were not the same as before. We have a system now that uses an outdoor sensor to modulate the gas valve on this boiler. I'm going to go through a basic how it works and just a quick explanation of what we built here. Again, we've got the new Vitodens 100. It has a few different knobs and buttons on it than it used to. It still features the same temperature wheel. The power switch has been moved to the boiler, and we now have a pressure gauge on the boiler, which is different than the old system. We still are doing a primary loop system. Basically, we come out of the bottom of the boiler, we come up. Our production here is to make domestic hot water, cast iron radiation, and we have one heated radiant floor in the system. The first outlet off of our primary loop is our domestic hot water tank. This is a 40-gallon tank, and this boiler will probably produce 40 gallons of domestic hot water in about 20 minutes. We pull off of the primary loop with a pump injected into the tank. The return of the tank comes back and enters the primary loop. The next stage off of the primary loop is the house cast iron radiation system. We have a set of close space tees and a pump that feeds into the old system. This house was built in the early 1900s, and basically the cast iron rads are very large. Then we go into the last takeoff off the primary loop, which is our radiant floor. We have a bathroom being served, and we have a manual mix valve, a pump, and we'll send the water up to another bathroom. Beyond that, we've got expansion tank, which is ideally placed here because it's on one of the lowest pressure points of the system. It's being dragged on by the primary pump and then back into the boiler. This boiler is equipped with a flow switch, and if there isn't sufficient flow or if there's any restrictions, this boiler will not come on. The performance of this boiler is a lot. It's enhanced compared to the old because it has the ability to refer to an outdoor sensor. This house, if you refer to the graphics in the installation manual, you'll see that if you set it for about between 4 and 5, it'll optimize out at about 150 degrees Fahrenheit on about a -20 degree day. It's not a severely technical reset type control, but it does a really good job on controlling temperatures for the house. We are using a Taco relay box, and what it does is it's divvying up control and priority to each zone. The Taco box we've modified a little bit to manage the domestic water production, and what we've done is put an isolation relay in to activate the boiler on a domestic hot water call. Right now we are in a domestic call. The little tap is showing on the screen. If it was in hot water for the cast iron rads production, you would see a symbol of a radiator. The hot water tank, we're using an anti-scald on it, and basically what it does is we keep the vessel quite warm in and around 170 degrees. And what that does is it provides almost double the capacity of the tank. The anti-scald will mix hot and cold to feed into the house. So say a 40-gallon vessel of water at 50-50 mix will make about 80 gallons. This does produce a lot of condensation. We're using a neutralizer underneath the boiler to neutralize the condensate. It's going into a condensate pump, and the pump is lifting the water over to a laundry sink from here. One of the nice things about the Vitodens 100 now is they've gone to a 2-inch vent system. The 2-inch vent system it's great for cost because the 3-inch is quite costly compared to, and it's a lot more flexible. I believe we can go up to almost 80 feet combined, which is incredible for venting. It puts boilers in very remote locations. This is the boiler that is coming out that the Vitodens 100 is replacing. It was installed when the house was new, and it's about 60% efficient on the combustion side. It weighs about 12 to 1,500 pounds, and this is coming out shortly. This boiler originally was coal, and it utilized no pumps. All gravity was what controlled flow. Basically, the cold water would leave the rads, come back down to the inlets on the sides of the boiler, which have been cut. The coal door would be filled with coal. The hot water would rise up in through the boiler, and then it would enter back into the house. Somebody had to be home all the time. Then it was probably converted to oil at some point in its life, and then it was converted to gas, and everything has been sealed up. A lot of the doors have been locked down, so it can't be. One of the benefits of the wall-mounted boiler, the Vitodens 100 especially, is it can give you the ability to have a mechanical room on a 4x4 sheet of plywood.